I pressed record. Is it? It is recording. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So thank you for joining me today, Sharon. I really appreciate it. So basically, we're just going to be having a catch up to see how we're doing. We've spoken quite a few times. You've been very helpful to me. I'm not sure I've been as helpful to you, but hopefully I have in some way. So to start off, do you want to just say a bit about how you're involved in property?
Wow, it's been a journey, to be fair, but also thank you for having me. And you do help me. You help me very much in regards to a bit of supporting. Your lives are amazing, so it's an inspiration and it's something that I'm going to be picking up on too soon. But yeah, property wise, started about 6 years ago, really, when a gentleman I knew took me on part-time to run his portfolio, and I took that and sort of ran it myself. So he just sort of stepped back. I dealt with everything in regards to that, and then I moved on to run his estate agency. So I was the lettings manager. They put me in as the agency manager, but I didn't really know as much about sales and things, so I basically just ran the lettings for them and built the business up from there, basically. Then I miraculously fell pregnant, and about 6 months into my maternity, the boss there decided he didn't want to do the work himself and that he wanted to retire, so he handed the business over to somebody else, which didn't go down well, is all I'm going to say about that, which meant returning from maternity couldn't happen, and therefore the original boss that I was working for and was like co-partnering in the agency, he took me back as a sourcer. So I've been learning the ropes in sourcing, land and property, and basically then started working with Sarah Point Ryan and Chris Taylor in their partnership, and I'm pushing forward with that at the moment. But in the background, about 5 years ago, I moved out of my original property and started renting that out. So we are now in the stream of building up that portfolio, because basically I'm knowing people even now that are just losing their pensions. So to be able to have an income now and have that same income when we retire, that's the only way we can really sort of push forward with that. And it's a good way of, now that I'm surrounding myself with a lot of property people and a lot of motivational people, it's helping me understand what I want to do for my daughter and how I want to educate her better in terms of money and thinking about later on in life. And so yeah, I feel like I'm right where I need to be right now with the right people around me. So I'm ready to push forward for next year and see what it brings.
That's good. So you said you're surrounding yourself with the right people. So I'm going to guess that I'm one of those people.
Absolutely.
And how are you meeting all these people that are just making you feel like, yes, property is the way forward, and they're helping you through your new adventure?
It seems to be organic. So the more I surround myself with somebody else of the same values or better values, or have a better understanding of the world in regards to property or money management, not I want to be a millionaire, not I'm this amazing person with a Ferrari, or not those people. The people that have values and understand that it's about the long game and that compound effect, and looking to the future, I don't want to be a millionaire today, I want to be stable in the future. So with my boss for the sourcing side of things, he introduced me to Sarah. Sarah's then introduced me to Emma Deeker, and she helps and supports in my lifestyle. So getting up early, making sure I'm looking after myself, because before that felt like a selfish thing to get up and take time to work out, or take time to do my own food. With having a 1-year-old, I'm so busy looking after her, getting clothes washed, doing all those sorts of things, that it felt selfish to look after myself. But she's made me realise that I have to look after myself because I need to be here for her, and I need to teach her how to look after herself. Which has then progressed to meeting all you guys through Cogito Wealth, and having that help and support, which then led to the partnership, which then led to meeting Chris Taylor, who is now supporting me through social media and understanding a business from a different perspective in sort of this day and age. So it's a natural progression. It's that thing of, you meet one person, or how do they say it? If you're in a group of people that are negative, you're just going to meet more negative people. But I just seem to be in a good pod of people where the next person is even better, and I'm learning even more. And it's like, how could I not know this before? That's the main thing in it all. How could I not be open to this world before? But it's amazing that I'm here now, and the people that I'm involved in. It's great.
It's interesting what you're saying about the negative people. Like, that is so true. So there are some people in my life, I don't cut people off like I'm not talking to you anymore, but there are people that you just stop calling because like the negativity is just too much. And some people, it's like they can't even help themselves. They just are, it's just that they're on this path that they have to be negative all the time, and they don't realize it brings around all the people around them. And so if you just switch it up and be positive, like, things are just brighter. Like, the next day will be better if you tell yourself that it will, because you make an effort to make it better.
Yeah.
What was I going to ask you? So the previous property you had, that one's a buy to let now?
Yes.
Yes. Excellent. So do you want to talk about how you had that property, and then how you managed to then buy a second property and then let that one out? Is that called a let to buy?
I bought that property when I was 20. So back then, I got 100% mortgage. I didn't have a penny in the bank. I had no furniture. I'm a very impulsive person. So I bought a car without test driving it because it was a bit quirky and I quite liked it. I'm terrible. And then I woke up one day and I thought, I need to move out. Not home life was brilliant. Parents are fantastic. I don't have a bad upbringing or anything like that. They've been hard workers. So I just get a thing in my head and I decide, that's what I'm going to do. So I decided I was old enough to move out. I was 21 or 20. So I went looking around some houses, and I just picked one and I bought it. And that was it. So I lived in that for a while. I struggled, I was young. I didn't have a greatly paid job. I had this little car that I just bought, which luckily was all right. And being on my own and paying for all those things was tough. So there were times where I did get into a position where there were people knocking at the door and I was hiding. But I managed, with the people around me, great parents and family and friends, I managed to pull myself out and hold on to the house. And then later on, when I was 27, I met my now husband. He's quite a lot younger than me. He's 6.5 years younger. So I just thought, it's not going anywhere. I can just be myself. I don't have to pretend to be anything. It was quite a relaxed relationship, and then that sort of turned into something else. So he moved in, we started doing the house up, and when I bought it, it was £34,500, and now we've just had it revalued at 150.
That is crazy.
And that's where you talk about, it's not just about buying it and getting that rent in. It's about, if you can sit on that long enough, oh my goodness, you can make so much more money from that. So what we did was we pulled money out initially to then pay for the deposit for the next house. So then I've never, thankfully, because of the position I was in, I've never had to save for a deposit. But that was because of the time, being able to get that 100% mortgage. And then with it growing in capital, I just pulled some of that out to then move to the next house.
Perfect. And at the time, did you have to leave 25% in that house that you had, or was it different numbers then?
We didn't even get to that. We just pulled 20 grand out. So we were well under what we needed anyway. And then by the time we sold that next house, we didn't keep that because we were moving into quite a bigger house then, and we needed everything pulled out. So again, that house grew by £40,000 in 2 years. So that gave us everything we needed to then move into the house we're in now, and pay half the mortgage. It's half the mortgage of what the house is worth. So it is circumstance as well as being a bit savvy about it. But we are now using that buy-to-let property and the equity that's left, and we do need to leave that 25% in to build the rest of the portfolio.
Mm-hmm. So are you in a position now that you've got capital to then get your next one, or are you sitting a bit longer? What's your plan moving forward?
We started the process of pulling the rest of the equity that we could out of that buy-to-let in March, and that remortgage is still not complete. So it has been painful, but we should have that in the next week or two. That's not quite enough to be able to do flip deals in regards to deposit and refurb. So what my plan is to do some joint ventures with Sarah, Point and Ryan, and build up that pot. So then that will work in regards to, I can start picking up some other properties, my end, to build a portfolio, but still have an investment with her that's ongoing, that's building that pot. So then I can start feeding that into the portfolio.
Yeah.
Because that portfolio for us is retirement. That isn't money right now. So I can put that into retirement, put that on a rent to rent deal. So I will be paying the 25-30% for somebody else to take that property on, and I don't have to worry about it. I can retire. I don't have to be going on holiday and having phone calls from the agent saying, you've got a leaky tap, do you want us to fix it? When if you're a decent landlord, the answer to that should always be, of course.
I think because a lot of people, when they start getting interested in property, they might not have the capital to get started. So rent to rent is it's desirable because it's less money in. But for myself, similar to what you just said, I do not want to be managing a property. Like, that's just a stress I don't want, which may sound really weird because I want to be in property. But for me, the whole homes under the hammer thing, that's the thing that excites me, the like doing a house up. And I think the thing I would struggle with is I'm going to want to do a lot of the like DIY stuff myself. And I know you shouldn't. That's not how you build a huge portfolio. You should pay somebody else to do those things so you can move on to the next deal. But I think for me, I don't want to do it just to become rich. That's not really it. It's, for me, if I was going into a property every day and doing a bit of work, that actually sounds like living quite a nice life to me. I would enjoy that. It'll be hard right now because my daughter's 14 and obviously I'm still working full time. But if I could get to a point that I was making enough money each year to quit my job and just do that, then I would be happy. Where do you see yourself in the industry? Like, what point would you be happy?
I'm like you. I like to take a project, I think, and be involved in it myself. And so then when it's done, you can step out the door and look around and just think, I was part of that. And that's what I'd like to do. That my only problem with that is, yeah, I'm brilliant at doing a bit of painting and things like that. However, I need to then be aware of, am I being a hindrance to the people that are actually working in the house and trying to get it to the standard that I want? Or, am I helping or am I hindering? I suppose is a level of that. I'm not, I don't know, it's a difficult one really, because I'm doing it for an end goal, but I want to enjoy the journey. I want to be able to look back and say, I didn't just, oh, buy that house, flip it, made this money. I want to be able to drive past a house and go, oh, I did this on that house, or I did that on that house. It's not about, oh, I made this and I made that. It's about the journey, and I want to feel that, and I want to learn from it. And I'm not going to learn if it's just all about the money. Not
Yeah,
as much anyway.
that's true. So my friend, she, I think she's got about 8 or 9 houses. She's got loads of houses. She's my friend. She's my client. I like to say she's my client. She's been to my house, and we go to my garage, which I converted into a games room. And she always does just look around, and she's like, I can't believe you did this yourself, because I did. Apart from the plastering, and I also paid somebody to cut out more of the wall, so that, and they put in a bigger window with the doors. I didn't trust myself to do that, but like putting all the stud work in, all the insulation, all of that I did. And then my girlfriend painted it. I hate painting, that's boring. But for me, DIY is like arts and crafts, which I'm sure builders would really hate me for saying that, but it is, like, I find it quite fun, and it feels amazing to be able to sit in something that you made. That's like, I can't even explain what that feels. It sounds so geeky, but it's true.
Yeah.
Cool. So what are you working on today? Are you doing any property? No, it's the weekend. You only do property stuff in the week, don't you?
Absolutely not. How very dare you, Shona? No, at the moment it is. It's taking over a little bit, but you've got to put the work in. And I'm learning. I'm in this new world, and I am right at the beginning of my journey, and I have so much to learn. So the last week, it's probably taken a bit more precedence than I would like to, but I'm balancing at the moment. So I've worked in the evenings. When I say worked, I don't see work as work, because I quite enjoy it. So everything that's encompassed in it, with the social media side of stuff, as well as, hunting for properties and all that sort of stuff, it's all the same thing, and it certainly is to my husband. So yeah, I've been working on myself or the business Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. No, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday nights last week, and I have to make sure I'm visible on social media every single day, so that doesn't stop, work-wise or not. That's to get the message out there. So I'm trying to get the message out there to landlords about what's your exit plan. So like you have properties as well. So when you've built up that portfolio, what's your end game? Like I said to you, my end game is for to have a business built up ourselves, where we can just hand that over to who's running that at the time and say, take my 25-30%, manage my business, give me my guaranteed rent, give me, like, don't hassle me with maintenance. I don't want to know unless it's major and I have to get insurance involved. I don't want to be bothered with that. It should just be an income and an asset. And it's about getting that message out to landlords as to whether you've got one or multiple properties. What's your exit plan? Most people have property because of pensions. Do you still want to be bothered by that? If someone's managing it on a normal 10% plus VAT contract, you're still getting the phone calls with people aren't paying their rent, you're not getting your rent because of voids, you still have to deal with the maintenance. And I don't want that. I want it to be a true retirement. So it's about getting the message out there of, your exit plan might not be rent to rent like mine. Everybody's exit plan is going to be different, but do you know that you need one? Do you know that at some point you're going to have to think about this, because you don't want to be 80 still picking up the phone to tenant issues?
Yeah, because I only have one buy to let at the moment, and I took it on this year, so I'm quite new. But that's like far, far away, far, far, far. That's in Darlington, and I'm in Essex. so I don't manage that. When I took it on, I bought it through a sourcer, and I was going to work with an agent, which the sourcer put me in touch with, and they were great when we were chatting. But then the build didn't go on time. It was during COVID, so I have to take that into account, and it cost a bit more than I expected. It wasn't terrible, but I just decided I didn't want to go with that agent because I wanted to break all ties with that sourcer. So I met somebody at I think it was a PIN meeting, or it might be in a PN meeting, and I found out that they manage properties in Darlington, and I was like, great. So I ended up giving them a call when I went up there to actually see the refurb, which there was a leak in the roof dripping onto my brand new carpet, and I was just like, what is going on? Like, what I was really scared, basically. And so I called this guy. I was like, can you come round, please? And so he sent one of his people round, and she was really nice. And I said, oh, I just want to break ties with this sourcer. I just want to take the property and move on after he's fixed the problems. So they looked around, and they were really helpful. And we have like an online portal, so they message me through that. So I don't really have to do anything, which is nice. When I do get a message, I do get nervous though. I'm like, oh no, what do I need to pay to fix? But paying to fix it isn't terrible because I don't actually have to spend 6 hours driving up there. I don't have to find a trusted builder because they already have their trusted people. They're going to tell me how much it's going to cost before it's done as well. So even though I did have to pay out a couple of things at the beginning, it wasn't the end of the world. It's not too much stress.
No, and normally when you only have one or two or a few, it's not too bad. It's when you have quite a few properties, or you have a property that if there's been work done and then there's just the same issue over and over again, or they can't find what that fault is, it can become expensive. And yeah, I know a lot of, when I ran the estate agency, you know, a lot of landlords would just get fed up with the fact of, especially with boilers, because one thing can be wrong with it, but the actual diagnostics of it can take forever sometimes, and it's just a pain sometimes. So yeah, it's just how much of a pain your tenants are, or your property is, in regards to yeah, how many calls and stuff you're getting, really. And I think that's
your property. So you have an agent with that, or that's on a rent to rent already, that property?
No, I manage that myself. Yeah, so while I start building up the portfolio, while I only have a few, I'll be running that myself anyway. That's absolutely not a problem at all. It's when it gets to a point where that's encroaching on my other work, then I might look for an agent. Well, I'll be putting it into our agency, so at least then it will be on a lower percentage, and then I still have a handle on the maintenance and stuff anyway. It's only when I get to the point where I'm really thinking about retirement, I would then be looking at to put it into our rent to rent side of things, because we're just building up a lettings like management agency at the moment. So where I used to work for the agencies, some of those landlords have contacted me asking me if I do the normal letting side of things, so the usual sort of 10% plus that type management, of which I wasn't until enough of them contacted me, and I thought, well,
why not? If the business is there and they already trust you to do it, then just do it.
That's it. So that's what we're doing at the moment. So we're just building that side of it up as well, and hopefully there'll be a smooth transition with them as they start to retire. That, you know, is this an option for you? Do you want to keep holding these properties with a little less hassle? So it will all sort of feed in as well. So it's just for me to sort of educating some landlords about, are you keeping legal? Are you aware of all the laws and regulations to keep you above board? So yeah, and the amount of landlords I see or speak to that have tenants in situ and don't have any of the paperwork to back that tenancy up. So if anything happened and the agent went under, they've got no paperwork on that tenant whatsoever. So if it went wrong and they need to go to court, they don't have a leg to stand on.
Interesting. I'm really excited for you. I didn't realise you had these people calling you up, which now you can, yeah, just set up your letting agency. Obviously, you're already sourcing, so there's
Yeah.
different compliance stuff for each of those. Is that a bit of a headache trying to set up both companies, or is it straightforward?
No, well, only because obviously the gentleman I was working with before and is now my boss for the main sourcing company, he's done both.
Mm.
So he's fully aware of everything that needs to sort of go on. So he's great support in that. And we are running it under his business. So it's not, it sort of takes the pressure off me because he knows the business side of things. I know the landlords. Let's collaborate and make this work, basically. So that's basically what we're doing. He takes on that side of things. I just make sure we're all legal and compliant, and I get the clients in.
Cool.
So.
You said you mentioned your husband a couple of times. Is he? You said that he's quite supportive, but like, does he work in property as well, or?
No, not at all. He is. Oh gosh, now I've got to say it right. It's a fume and dust extraction. So he gets to go to amazing places like F1, which I love and I'm extremely jealous about. So he goes into their companies and clears out all their exhausts. Obviously, there's a lot of fumes with all the moulding and all the rest of it. So he clears all their systems out, and I went on at him a little bit to read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he's like, not for me, not for me. He's he's quite day to day, and he listened to it, and he's now inventing things for his job. So yeah, I'm trying to support him on all the things that he's now got going on. I think Rich Dad Poor Dad has a lot to answer for, is all I can say, because we're busier than ever. It's crazy. It just sort of opens your mind a lot. And yeah, I have all these ideas of like what I want to do, and like little tidbits of how to make even like little bits of money in lots of different places to just keep things dripping in. And like before I read that book, I was like, I don't know anything. I don't know enough about anything. I don't why, I haven't got any ideas to do anything. But after reading that book, it was just like, oh my God, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this. But I needed to then settle myself down, get my foundation, and get this property stuff right first before I start sticking fingers in lots of pies. So, and he's the same. He was like, oh, why would I read it? I've got a good job. I don't know why I would even do that. And he has long journeys. I said, what's it gonna hurt? Just listen to it. Yeah, and now he's inventing stuff to do with his work.
You got everything like patented. That's his.
We are working on that bit. So we're
So exciting. You obviously can't tell us because that might ruin the patent, but
well, that's it. So yeah, he's sort of it's extremely simple, but he says it's needed. There's nothing like it on the market where he's working, and and that's the other thing. We're now having to learn, well, what comes first? Product, pattern. How do we work out that nobody else has made it beforehand? Yes. So he's all busy as well. So massively supportive. He is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So obviously you've got a 1-year-old, and if you're both super, super busy, so do you have a nanny, or does she go to nursery in the week? Or how are you managing to both work in the week?
So I have Mondays, I say off. If she's sleeping, I'm working. So she goes to my sister's on a Tuesday, and then she goes to a childminder Wednesday, Thursday, and then she goes to nannies on a Friday. So my husband's parents have her on a Friday. And then I get to do activities on a Saturday with her. So we go topsize, so we get some activities in. So I don't feel guilty that we're not doing stuff. And then she does baby swim with my husband on a Sunday, so they get their time as well. So we're balancing. We also have a working dog, which adds to the mix, because then her energy and exercise needs to be kept up through the week to make sure that she's fit and healthy to work at the weekends. So yeah, now that I say all that things, I think, how do I do that? But my dad is now living with us. He's been living with us for a few months, so he's helping with the dog side of things. So.
I think, yeah, because a lot of people will make an excuse of, I don't have the time. I know myself, sometimes I don't get as much done every week as I'd like, but that's because other things happen in life or in my full-time job, so I can do less on working on my future self. But I think the most important thing is that you don't give up on your future self, and that if things take over, you just got to make sure you get that back, right?
Yeah, it's hard because you get so much energy and excitement about what you're doing, that I need to just take a step back and look behind me and just realize that there's family there supporting me, and I don't want to lose that. I need to make sure that I'm spreading my time out with everybody to make sure that I don't neglect too much. And I don't think you can 100% be focused on everybody all the time. Something drops, whether that is work, whether that is home, whether it is something else. It can't be 100% everything all the time. It's that roller coaster, isn't it? So yeah, it's all a balancing act. So you just got to try your best, haven't you? If you don't turn up for yourself, then you can't turn up for others, and nothing's going to change.
Yeah, that's true. That's the thing. It's like, well, if you're not happy with what you, and it's not even that I'm not happy with what I'm doing, actually. My job actually is all right now. I feel quite happy. I'm doing my head teacher qualification as well. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I am actually finding it more interesting than I thought I would, because it's very vocational. It's about what I already do in my school. So I'm already part of the senior leadership team. I already manage, how many people do I manage? About 9 people.
Right.
That's the hardest bit of managing people is super hard. Managing projects or things is not as difficult as managing people. I find that the most stressful thing. And in my own business now, it's just me. So to keep myself motivated, I have to talk to like people like you, and I just have to constantly just call people up so I can talk about property, because otherwise it'd be so easy to just not keep going, because my girlfriend's not that interested. She's slightly interested because she knows that she doesn't want to work forever. And we're trying to buy a new house, but we haven't found anywhere yet. But that's to the extent at the moment that she's interested.
I was going to ask how the house hunting has been going. So you still haven't found anywhere else?
No, so because of where my daughter goes to school and she's in year 9, we don't want to move anywhere that's not one bus route to her school, basically. And I didn't realise until we'd already put our house on the market and got a buyer that there is only one bus that goes there. So we have to stay on the same bus route we're already on, which is so limited. I've actually last week got quite frustrated, so I started emailing the bus companies asking if they had any plans to extend their routes. They're like, you need to talk to the council about that. I was like, so there was a house I was going to buy, and that's why I put my house on the market. We weren't going to put our house on the market until we found somewhere, and we did. But there were basically the property had had subsidence in the past. And although all my research and talking to lots of people had told me that that's fine, if it's been underpinned, then it's safer than any other house, because those houses potentially might have subsidence in the future, whereas this one's already been underpinned. But reading the paperwork, there was some things like some damp issues, like you'd have to use a special paint, like a special air breathing paint and things like that. And that might be the case for all walls, I don't know. But that really put my girlfriend off. She was like, hang on, are you telling me that even when I'm decorating, which she does quite a lot, then I've got to make sure we buy this particular thing? She's like, it's just too stressful. But also, it doesn't have a drive, and the garden is smaller than our garden.
Right.
So the house is it was a 4-bedroom house, and it's double bay windowed, where it meant the downstairs you've got 2 reception rooms as well as a study and a kitchen, and it had a staircase into the loft. There was no loft conversion, but the staircase was already there. When you walk up the stairs, you think you're walking into another floor. So for me, it was the perfect project because it needed doing up, but the space was amazing. But yeah, the garden was small and there was no drive, so we wouldn't have been losing anything, but we just decided it wasn't worth it. So yeah, we just keep looking, but things aren't really coming on the market very much in my particular area, which is that a good thing? Because that means my area people don't want to sell because they want to stay here. Maybe is that's why. I think these are just weird times, aren't they? So
Yeah.
and because it's such a small area, it's like, well, how many houses would go on sale on one bus route a week? I don't know. Some weeks nothing goes on at all, and some weeks 4 houses will go up, but they don't meet our criteria because we are in, you already know this, but I'll tell everyone else. So my house, it's a 3-bedroom house, but the previous owners turned the 3rd bedroom into a bathroom, so it's only a 2-bed. But because our garage is converted into a games room, and this is my loft space, which isn't technically a room because it wasn't technically converted properly, but it is a really good space, then yeah, we got a good price for it. So we've got so many rooms. And so when we're looking at 3 beds, I was like, these 3 beds, they don't look that big. And I realized it's because my house is a 3-bedroom house. So they're the same size, in fact, smaller, because they don't have the games room and they don't have an office in the loft. So I'm like, well, why would we bother buying a 3-bed if we're actually going to lose space? It doesn't make any sense. So we kind of have to get a 4-bed, and we do want to definitely get that drive and the big garden. Like I said, that's why we didn't buy the one across the road, because it didn't have those things. Because if you're not going to be moving up, then why are you moving?
There is that. Location, to be
Yeah,
fair. But then if you're stuck in the same location because of your bus route,
yeah.
do you feel that maybe it's just not the right time?
It might, because of COVID, it might not be the right time. Also, we're actually still in a 5-year fix, and I've still got another year on the fix. So I was going to have to pay 1,500 to come out of that anyway. So maybe the universe is just telling me, just wait until you come out of your fix. It'll be much cheaper. Hopefully my house will be worth more then anyway, so we'll have more money to pull out, but who knows what COVID's actually going to do to the market. Also, so my daughter's in year 9. When she goes to college, we could potentially move then, depending on where she goes to college. And then when she's 18, then we can move anywhere, and we'll probably move out to the country. So we don't actually have to move now. We could just stay here now. I think for me, getting into property, I get all excited about what we could do. So the fact that I realised we could move, and here's something I didn't understand actually before. I knew how much I could borrow from the bank. So when I used the online calculator things, I worked out what I could buy, but this sounds stupid now because I know better. I thought I could only buy something for what they said I could borrow, forgetting that I also have the equity in this house. And so you add those together, and that's how much you could buy a house for. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know we could buy a house that cost that much money. So then I wanted it. And I want it in the future. Like, really, I want to have a detached house with like a nice bit of land. Just a big house where people can come stay over and visit us and stuff. But then I started thinking, well, can we have that now? But now that I know my area very well now, no, not on my bus route. You cannot have that now. Which is a shame, because the amount of money I could use, if I could go another 15 minutes down the road, I could potentially have that now.
Yeah.
That's really sad. So yes, maybe the universe is telling me now is not the time to move.
And what would happen if you pulled out? Would you then have to pay your buyers?
Yeah, so Stacey was really worried about what we've signed up for already. So we sold with Purple Bricks. So what's good is, normally it's only £1,000, but if you're London or just outside, it's 1,500. So we had to pay 1,500. I've not paid it yet. You're supposed to pay it on completion. However, I think I need to check the paperwork actually. If we haven't I think you have to pay it within 6 months of them putting it on the market. So I think we've got like 3 months left to pay it. So if we don't end up selling, I will still have to pay them 1,500. But the solicitors and stuff, you don't pay them until it's all done. My broker wanted a fee up front, but because I'm a PIN helper and he is the PIN mortgage broker for Essex PIN at the moment, he said, no, that's fine. I could pay once I've sold. So I don't have to pay my broker fee yet either. So yeah, it's just the 1,500 I'd have to spend, which isn't great, but it's not the end of the world. And with Purple Bricks, basically I can keep pulling it on sale with them. That price covers until I do sell. So if my buyer pulls out, then it's not. I feel sad for them though. I don't. That's why I'm not going to pull out. We'll keep going to look for a house. We'll keep going to look for a house. But if they said they're pulling out, I wouldn't blame them. Like, they've been waiting a long time.
Yeah.
But then why would they? If they pull out and they know they've got this house, then they've got to go find somewhere else and go through it all again. And they've already sent the valuer and stuff, so they would have to pay for that, wouldn't they?
Yes, and any searches that they've done. That's why I wondered if you'd have to pay them.
I don't. That's a good question. I hope not. I don't think so, because they're their searches, not my searches. And lots of people say, oh, wouldn't we consider renting for a little while so we could just sell now? But imagine if it took us another year to find a house. Like, that would be super stressful to move twice anyway. But also for my daughter, like, I can't put that disruption in there for her. She doesn't want to move anyway. So to make her move twice. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if there will come a point where the buyers will just have to say, no, it's too long.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. But, especially if the market goes down. Because if they think they're overpaying for the house, then they might try to renegotiate, which I'm not going to renegotiate. I'll just say, no, it's fine. You can either pay that or you can pull out. I don't mind.
Well, we've had to have 2 values on our buy to let. So they went out initially and valued it once, and then they've been out again. So, and that's only since March they valued it the first time. So they obviously think there's been enough of a shift, and they downvalued it by 15% the first time. So I don't know how much they're going to try and do it this time. So.
Oh, you haven't had that back yet?
No, which will be interesting to see, because it's on my patch as well. I'll see what they're trying to do.
And was it downvalued in terms of your research? Had you done comparables for other sold prices in the area?
Yeah, so there hasn't been a lot of shift even on that road for many years, and then all of a sudden there's about 4 or 5 that were sold and on the market. So I have quite really good comparables, and they downvalued by about 15%. So we shall see what the next value comes in at. But in that time, obviously property values have gone up. So yeah, I'm not sure where they're going to go with that one. We shall see. It'll be either another hurdle or it'll be a nice little surprise, and we'll crack on either way.
Hopefully it'll be a nice little surprise.
Yes, definitely.
And have you noticed, obviously, prices have gone up loads in the last 6 months. Are they still rising where you are on your patch?
Yeah, different patches are growing higher than others, but obviously you get different estates, so that's always going to be the case. But yeah, slowly but surely. But there's a house 2 doors up from us, exactly the same format house that we bought 2 years ago. They were on the market while we were looking, so we could have potentially bought theirs instead of ours. And they've just sat at the same price for 2 years. And they've had loads of people come in and put offers in, and they've ended up having to pull out for one reason or another. and they've sold again recently, but the buyers have decided they are absolutely not paying for searches, even though that's their side of it. So they put it back on the market with a view that it is sold, and if they move, then it'll go to them. But it is back; they're back doing viewings at the moment, and obviously their house has risen in that 2 years, but they can't. They could put the price of the house up, but then they're not going to get any viewings because people have seen that it's been on the market for the price it's on the market for. So, and it's a lovely house. It's a really, really nice, well done up house. I don't understand why it hasn't been snatched up. It's a strange one.
You're doing a social media challenge at the moment, aren't you?
Yes.
And so you have to post every day. So does this video have to go, does it have to get posted today as part of your challenge?
I have a backup post because you said about chopping the video up, like working on the video. So that it was going to be, and then I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to do some work, and I'm going to have to learn how to do it, and then I've got to get it out. So
I can post it today. It's fine. I can post it today.
So I do have backup. Our development plot has finally finished, so I have that in the pipeline to start posting over the next few days. And I assume by the time Monday comes along and Chris pops out the next task, that content isn't necessarily going to be in line with what he wants me to do. So I might be holding that back for another day, because from now on, forever, I have to post every day.
From now on, forever. That's
forever.
I was posting. No, when I do a challenge, I find challenges really motivating. And I remember when I did Sarah's challenge the second time, which I think is when you joined, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Then I posted, I gave myself the challenge of posting 5 times a day. That wasn't what she asked for. That was just like, I was like, I can do this. And sometimes I'd post up to about 9 times a day. But I think that was too much. I couldn't sustain it. So I've decided that I won't post every day. I will post at least every 3 days. And I try and send it out to different places. What I did learn was annoying is when you repost the same thing, because all the property people in the same groups, right? So then your video comes up, do, and that's not good. That's not what you want. You want it to come through later on in the day or different days. So don't do that. That's my advice. Don't duplicate at the same time. That's not a good idea.
No. I have to post every day, posting on each platform. So I'm concentrating on Instagram initially, then Facebook and LinkedIn. So it's just changing the content between Instagram and LinkedIn is my challenge at the moment. Even just thinking of something every day. But Chris is really good at like what you do, just like do a live, whereas I'm not good at that. That is something I have to work on. It's just but like the other day, yesterday, I was struggling, so I scrolled through my photos, found an old photo when I was sitting at my desk, and I posted just something to do with the fact that the wheat sheaf project had finished, and then that would then lead on to my other posts, and that actually made it look like I was working yesterday in my office.
You were working yesterday.
I was working yesterday, however, I wasn't there. That coffee would definitely be cold by now. So and that's what it's about. It's not about, oh look, I'm working all the time. It's just make it easy on yourself. Find a photo in your phone, post about it, and tell everybody about it. As long as it's relevant to what you're doing, that's all that matters, really. But he does say every day, Shona, not every 3.
Every day. Is that Chris Taylor?
Yeah.
I don't think I've actually ever spoken to him. I've watched the video on Kajito, his interview. Yeah, I think I was supposed to contact him, but I didn't. I might be in trouble. He might be mad at me. I don't know.
No, I'm sure he's not. He just says if he's reached out to you and you don't contact him, he just wipes you. But I'm sure if you get in contact with him, he's lovely and he's amazing at what he does. He's so amazing. I dread to think how out there I am going to be by the end of this challenge. And that's the problem. I'm somebody in a little town who has had their social media so closed off to the world. I'm quite happy not to be in anybody's business whatsoever. And all of a sudden, I have to open everything up.
So
and it's hard.
do you have to post? So you have to post this on your Instagram?
I don't have to, but I'm gonna.
You're gonna, okay. I'm just thinking, do you want me just to post it and then tag you and then you can share it anywhere, or do you want me to send you the actual video so then you can do whatever you want with it? What would you like?
I'm not sure how to upload it into Instagram at this point in time, but if I could have a copy, if you load and tag, and then I can maybe load and tag as well at some point. I don't know if that's.
I might have to email it to you, but the file will be quite big, so might have to work it out, but that's okay. I'll upload it and try and send it to you.
Cool.
Cool. All right then. Anything else you want to put in there before we say goodbye?
Oh my goodness, we've covered so much, and I think seriously, I could talk to you all day long. It's so easy. But no, I think for today, it's all good.
Cool. And just for anyone that's watching, we had a chat before this, and we decided that we would try and do this quite regularly, just to do a catch up so that people would know what we're up to. So yeah, we should be seeing the two of us just like this many times.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to that.
Excellent. All right then. Well, you have a good day. Go spend some time with your family. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do some more painting. And I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah. See you soon.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.